Nomadic City. Components operate through mobility in a network of flows and circulation that renders urban design not as sedentary, but adventurously nomadic and nimble in the face of disasters. The people in this coastal city, with low elevations susceptible to tidal flooding, have transformed their lifestyle from static to nomadic, reacting with a more fluid response to water cycles. The traffic infrastructure and other urban structures are reorganized to match the dynamic flow and circulation of water and people. Let us look into the stories of the nomadic city and how regenerative urbanism responds rapidly to the changing nature of the waterscape. Fluid cityscape. In the nomadic city, the fluid cityscape forms a flexible network of ground transportation infrastructure, underground waterways, and interlocking canals. The urban functions can be maintained even in unpredicted flood events. As the risk of water-related disasters increases with heavy rains and floods, the city quickly shifts its mobility and landscape to disaster mode. The dedicated lanes for cars and bicycles, striped throughout the city, are used for everyday traffic flows during normal conditions. However, during the rainy season, the same lanes and the green belts attached to them divert the water into the underground flood canals, releasing the muddy water back to the ocean from the city quickly. The water parks strategically placed throughout the city create moisturizing waterfront spaces as a unique feature of the city. However, these spaces will be turned into overflow collection basins in case of sudden guerrilla storms or hub ports for evacuation boats. A multi-layered canal network connects the river, ocean, and surrounding wetlands to the city, constructing a porous urban fabric capable of controlling water levels and draining the water from the city quickly. During flood events, the canal and road networks are interconnected to become an alternative fluid transportation infrastructure that can provide throughways for rescue efforts and transportation of goods and services.
We're not interested at all in the conventions of reading site as a place. We wanted them to see site as a dynamic set of relationships, exchanges of matter, flow, energy, and all of these things that sustain certain conditions, or they can change depending on how these fluxes differentiate.
Misube Street. The canal surrounding the superblock in the historic city center, where automobile access is restricted, was once the spine of the city's transportation and industry. When ground transportation was developed, the canal lost its role and was considered an obstacle to urban development, so it was abandoned. However, the canals in the nomadic city have been turned into a multifaceted waterfront network called the Misube Street. Various public facilities centered within the superblock begin to be relocated to the periphery facing the canals, equipped with waterfront terraces and bridges enabling people to circulate between the old and new urban centers. The bridges are built at different heights above the canal to function as evacuation pathways and refuge spaces at any water level during heavy flooding. The canal will play various roles during each phase of a disaster, such as the moment of the disaster, rescue phase, reconstruction phase, and mitigation and prevention phases. The redevelopment along the canal started with public facilities. Eventually, relocation of residential buildings to the Misube Street is followed by the renewed attraction of the waterfront, creating more open space inside of the superblocks, which used to be overcrowded. The open spaces inside the superblocks promote ecological land use, such as space for greenery and renewable energy infrastructure, thus enhancing the city's sustainability.
Some our students focused on how to connect our interior life to exterior life, and how to connect our daily life and emergency life. How to connect our daily life and the festival time. So that kind of connecting the different situation is one of the key points of our disaster design, I think.
Drifting villages. The coastline of the nomadic city has been confronted with continuous erosion by tsunamis and storm surges for over 200 years. People's activities in the area have been expanding and contracting in 25-year cycles, responding to those changes. The Drifting Villages is a resilient residential platform system developed to accept these drastic environmental changes along this constantly evolving coastline. With their floatable structure, the Drifting Villages move out to the intertidal zone, providing opportunities for the residents to conduct commercial fishing, synchronizing with the tidal changes, and to develop multifaceted businesses for tourism. The advancement of the local industry and its infrastructure from the land to the ocean leads to the development of a new market economy and new construction technologies that take advantage of the sea level rise and the change of the coastline.
Our ocean engineers, and they also have some contact connection with the local communities, because in order to build these bamboo structures, and they also very often to work with the local community to experiment all these new technologies. And so in the same time, all these local fishermen can utilize this bamboo structure to help their aquaculture productions.
The nomadic city has invigorated the resiliency of urban life by embracing a dynamic human lifestyle and the fluid nature of water, creating an environment that is both static and in motion. Environments in the nomadic city change rapidly, creating new lifestyles and unexpected uses of urban space.